Hey guys, Jay here, welcome to EonsOfBattle, and in this video I would like to tell you why you should not magnetize your models. Or should you? This video was made possible in part thanks to viewers like you. Thank you. To magnetize or not to magnetize, that is the question, whether 'tis nobler to suffer the gluing and drilling of tiny magnets, or to take stock against a sea of wasted hobby dollars. Guys, I'm in two minds about magnetization. On the one hand, it's awesome. It's a uniquely miniature wargame thing that allows you to give your models any loadout you want, and save money while doing it. But on the other hand, it's difficult, tedious, and prone to apathy, so this video is really going to be two separate videos. One where I gush about the pros of the magnet, and one where I complain and whine about why you maybe don't need to bother. F***ing magnets, how do they work? I sure don't know, but I do know how to use them. Magnets are a wargamer's best friend. Can't decide between a sword and shield or the claws? You don't have to. Don't want to look up what's a good gun for sentinels? Don't bother, bring them all. If you magnetize a kit right, you might never have to buy it ever again. I was a little late to the magnets game. I couldn't really imagine taking a drill to my microscopic models. And I could never seem to find the right sizes in stores. But now I'm a few years older, a few years wiser, and a few days sober, so now I can give you the scoop on magnets. If you want magnets, there's only one place to go, K&J Magnetics. I've been ordering from them for years and I've never received anything less than perfection. They have everything and anything you could want, and they have no minimum order with fast shipping. I have bought a lot of magnets over the years and can tell you the sizes I use most in my models. For infantry models like Space Marines and all other special weapons, I use 1.5mm magnets. For vehicle weapons like heavy weapons for land speeders, I use 3mm by 1.5mm magnets, and I use 6mm by 1.5mm magnets for large and in-charge connections like these Imperial Knight weapons. There are also some other oddities worth mentioning, like these ring magnets, 6.3mm with a 3mm hole, perfect for X-Wing miniatures. Or these 3mm square magnets, which blend in nicely on mechanical models when you don't want to bother drilling holes. For attaching your magnets, the best way is to use a pin vise and a nice sharp bit. This should get you through all your small magnets like your 1.5s or 3mm, but you'll run into larger sizes as well. I've heard different people say that you should or should not work with a Dremel tool for drilling holes, but I found a Dremel works just fine. You just have to be careful. The fast RPM can heat up and melt the plastic if you're not careful enough, so make sure you work slow and let the plastic cool. What I would caution against is using a power drill. Avoid this for a lot of reasons. First, unlike the Dremel, the power drill is a torque machine. There is a reason this can screw down 3-inch deck screws without skipping a beat. It's all fun and games until the bit bites down into the plastic, yanks the model out of your hand, and cuts your fingers for good measure. Now with that out of the way, let me show off some of my pride and joys of magnetization. These Genestealer Cult Goliath rock grinders are completely magnetized, and you'd never know it to look at them. All the magnets are strong and hidden. The mining laser can be swapped out for the truck's autocannon, and the rock grinding scoop is completely removable with some clever hiding of some beefy magnets. Another piece I'm quite proud of are these Space Marine Centurions. They are still gray plastic right now. In fact, I have 3 more still on sprue. For shame. I will get around to painting them one of these decades. Anyhow, about magnetization. Every arm weapon option is magnetized, and the close combat weapons are magnetized as well. All in all, that's a lot of magnetized parts. I know these are a bit of a controversial kit, but I think they are www.thebomb.com. And last but not least, my Land Raider Crusader. And guys, this is what magnets are really meant for. I don't have the room or the cash to own 3 or 4 different Land Raiders, so I made myself an all-in-one with the power of magnets. Every part is magnetized, the sponsons, the crew gun, the doors, even this cathedral is magnetized for travel. Seeing all these parts laid out reminds me of the famous Space Marine donning Terminator armor painting. This piece, by artist David Gallagher, is the epitome of 40k. Well, I hope I gave you some tips and insight into magnetization. I wish I could show you how to magnetize, but there's no one-size-fits-all answer. It all depends on the model, magnet, strength required, the material and necessity, and the painting. So go forth, procure some plastic and magnets, and turn your static soldiers into variable Swiss Army knives. Guys, It may not seem like it, but I can be a real lazy hobbyist. It may seem like I'm a hobby hero from my videos, painting every day on stream, or showing off my armies, but sometimes the hobby can be a real slog, and magnets can make it even worse. The thing about magnets is that it adds a lot more building time and painting time to your projects. For example, look at these sentinels. They are great, probably one of my favorite projects. I built and painted all 3 at the same time and magnetized them to be able to take all of the options, but when it came time to paint, I only painted the one loadout I wanted to take in an upcoming game, and put the rest into my bits bin. If I had had a little more resolve, I would have painted all of these. Maybe one day I'll get around to it, but painting a dozen tiny guns that will live in a little baggie almost all of the time does not give me the same endorphin rush as buying and painting Games Workshop's latest hotness. For me, that's one of the 2 big reasons why I don't magnetize all my models. It about doubles the workload for both modeling and painting. The reason I paint models is to play with them, and sometimes it just doesn't make sense to spend all that extra time magnetizing all the weapons. Call me a fool, call me lazy, but just like I wouldn't paint every rank and file infantry model to character standard, I am not going to magnetize every possible option for every single mini. A lot of models have a lot of options, but if you think about it, you can rule some out. For example, I love plasma. It's a near suicidal weapon that a lot of Space Marine characters can take. I know me, I know my playstyle, I will always take it. No need to magnetize the other 7 options. And magnetization is easy enough to do if you play Space Marines, but a lot of armies, basically all other armies other than Space Marines, are really difficult to magnetize. Shout out to Genestealer cult players. Your tiny Metamorph hybrids have to choose between 2 ranged weapons and 4 combat weapons, per guy. That's 6 weapons per guy. If you have 10 in your army, that's 60 little weapons you have to magnetize and paint. Are you really earning back that time investment? It's really easy to just tell your opponent, oh, by the way, these guys have flamers, and then get to gaming. The other problem for me, and this might just be a me problem, although I'm sure it's not, is that I am not an organized person. Never have been and never going to be. I'm clumsy, I drop stuff, and I don't remember why I walked into a room. I know for a fact I cannot be trusted to keep track of dozens of impossibly tiny weapons. I am a weekend warrior who tosses everything into an empty Amazon box at the end of a hard night of gaming, and that box isn't opened again until 2 weeks later. And I know a lot of wargamers are just like me. I have either lost or just never finished most of my magnetizations. Some are built, but the weapons I don't take are still awaiting paint in the cold, dark recesses of my bits bin. Another reason I don't magnetize the little guys very much is I want a big Space Marine army. It's so awesome to see the whole gang laid out, but it's rare I get to bring all my models in a game. But I still want them for the collection, so for me, modeling and painting the different weapon options separately scratches that collecting itch. They look great in a display case, and I still have the option for using them in games. And they display way better as 24 cool dudes than 4 dudes and 24 arms. For vehicles, it's a much easier ask to magnetize. The kits are more expensive and it's easier to hide magnets. But if you start magnetizing, you are obligated to keep magnetizing that kit the same way as you acquire more, or you get my Dreadnought collection. Ah, these poor bastards. All magnetized up and no place to go. Some are perfect like this lad. This one is just glued. I can kinda swap out this weapon, although none of them are painted, and the metal ones are magnetized up like the plastic ones and are way too small to hold up the heavy arms. You live and learn, I guess, but if I had just never magnetized, I probably could have just built one of each loadout and saved myself the trouble. Let's finish off by looking at my shame. Unfinished, unpainted, or lost magnet jobs. My Goliath rock grinders. Perfection, but I lost all the mining weapons except for the laser. White metal venerable dreadnoughts, never painted the right arm, cause I'm lazy. Space Marine gunners, love these guys, lost all the weapons. Company veterans, magnets in, but never finished. Are these guys even in the game anymore? Necron stalkers, never finished or learned the difference between the guns. Necron spiders, magnetized, sort of, finished but unpainted. This Space Marine captain, magnetized, primed, but never finished. Wow, that list hurt a little bit to write. Maybe I'll use that as a wake-up call to actually finish some of these guys. Although, the new Necron Doomstalker looks hella dope, so maybe I'll just work on that instead. So in conclusion, it might seem like I'm sending you mixed signals, and that's because I am. It's just not as simple as always magnetize or never magnetize. For vehicles, it's an easy yes. For infantry, you have to make your own judgment call. But as always, I hope you enjoyed this video, and thanks for watching.